Weddings, a wonderful celebration of love, often involve unique rituals and traditions from various cultures. Some of these customs are so bizarre that they might seem strange to outsiders. Join us as we show you 15 of the world's most unusual wedding rituals and traditions. Number 15. Fish beating ritual. On the morning of a Korean wedding, the groom's feet receive unusual treatment. They are playfully whipped with a fish to ward off misfortune. This ritual is known as falaka and traces back centuries in Korea. The origins of falaka relate to Korean geomancy traditions. Feet are considered low energy points vulnerable to infiltration by evil influences. Beating the feet transfers vital life force to this unprotected spot, creating a ritual shield. On the morning of his wedding, the groom has his shoes and socks removed to expose his bare feet. He then lies flat on the floor while his feet are elevated and bound together by female relatives. Armed with a dried fish, often a flounder, the women take turns lightly beating the soles of the groom's feet. This bizarre act serves multiple symbolic purposes. Firstly, it is believed to increase the groom's strength and virility for his wedding night. The controlled pain is considered fortifying. Second, it tests his ability to concentrate. During the beating, relatives ask him questions or have him recite poetry to see if he can maintain focus. Mental clarity indicates readiness for the duties of married life. Finally, the fish itself represents fertility and prosperity in Korean culture. Beating the groom's feet transfers the fish's vital energy and lucky qualities onto him. The harder the strikes, the more luck bestowed. While seemingly odd to outsiders, falaka holds cultural importance in South Korea. The ritual evokes laughter and bonding between the groom and his new family. To preserve tradition, South Korean grooms gladly endure this pain and indignity for a brighter shared future with their bride. Number 14. No smiling. Imagine celebrating your wedding day without even a hint of a smile. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, that is the harsh reality. Brides and grooms must remain stoic throughout the ceremony, or risk offense and misfortune. Congolese culture takes weddings very seriously. Any hint of lightheartedness or fun during the service is viewed as a failure to appreciate the gravity of marriage. Thus, beaming grins are strictly prohibited. Not even the slightest smile is condoned. This somber custom applies to all photos taken of the couple on their wedding day too. Joyous expressions would be considered inappropriate and irreligious. A stern demeanor demonstrates the necessary sobriety and respect. Tradition dictates that if a bride and groom dare crack a smile at the altar, their marriage may be doomed. Wedding guests would be scandalized by such flippancy. Fortunately, boisterous laughter is permitted at the reception after the sacred vows are sealed. While odd to outsiders, this no-smiling custom underscores how profoundly the Congolese culture values the sanctity of matrimony. Each couple must pass this test of stern composure to prove themselves ready for the sincere commitments and duties of married life. For them, true love is serious business indeed. Number 13. Chinese crying custom. In the weeks before a wedding in rural China, it is customary for the bride to weep daily, and she does not cry alone. This bizarre weeping ritual is practiced especially among the Tujia people of China's Sichuan province. During the final month before her marriage, the bride weeps for 1 hour every day. After 10 days, her mother then joins her, weeping in unison for an hour. After another 10 days, the bride's grandmother also participates. Finally, other female relatives take turns crying with the bride leading up to the wedding. This chorus of wailing women may seem depressingly odd to outsiders, but for the Tuja, it signifies the bride's happiness and good fortune. Loud weeping is thought to ward off evil spirits who may curse the match. The more fervently she sobs, the better luck is believed to bless her marriage. Ancient Chinese legend traces this unorthodox custom back to the wedding of a Tuja princess. On her big day, the princess's mother cried loudly, which then became an expected part of Tuja bridal traditions. Crying spreads luck from mother to daughter to granddaughter. For modern Tujia women, The crying ritual bonds the female generations while providing an emotional outlet for the bride's anxieties about leaving her childhood home. It is also an expression of the family's pure joy in her marriage. Far from sad, the cries echo with hope for the bride's bright future. Number 12. Tooth removal ceremony in Bali. On the lush tropical island of Bali, couples must perform an unusual ritual before tying the knot. They have a tooth filed down or extracted by a healer. While shocking to outsiders, this tradition carries deep spiritual meaning. 2 weeks before the wedding, the bride and groom visit a Balinese shaman who performs the quick, semi-painless tooth removal procedure. The shaman rubs herbs on the tooth to numb it before deftly cracking and pulling it out with pliers. There is minimal bleeding. This ritual dates back hundreds of years and relates to the Balinese Hindu faith. Theoretically, the triangular shape of canine teeth represents their religious trinity, Lords Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Blunting the teeth minimally alters that pure, holy geometry. This small, personal sacrifice demonstrates humility before the gods. Symbolically, filing the teeth also chips away negative traits that could sabotage the marriage like anger, jealousy, and material greed. Damaging the tooth purges past physical and spiritual impurities that might obstruct conjugal bliss. A tiny surface imperfection creates inner smoothness. By having the flawed tooth taken out by a holy man, the engaged couple demonstrates their sincere commitment to enter marriage in a purified state, unburdened by past sins or vices. The missing tooth leaves a gap for positive virtues like love and wisdom to fill their souls. Newly blank, their spirits can be wed in sacred union. While initially alarming, the tooth removal ceremony reflects the Balinese desire for self-improvement through tangible sacrifice. The brief moment of pain and absence in their mouths inspires greater spiritual wholeness and unity. Though unusual, this ritual enriches the holiness of marriage for the Balinese people. Number 11. Wedding traditions of the Mursi. In southern Ethiopia dwelt the Mursi tribe, a marginalized indigenous society perhaps best known for their jarring custom of lip plates stretching women's lower lips. Along with lip plates, bride price negotiation remains a key Mursi marital tradition, both practices deeply rooted in their threatened culture. Pubescent Mursi girls have their lower lip slit and then incrementally stretched using clay plates. The first plate inserted often measures 2 to 4 inches across. Over time, some Mursi women gradually expand their lip plates to gauges of 6 inches wide or more. These are considered markers of beauty and social status. To attract a husband, a Mursi woman's lip size matters. Prior to marriage, the groom must pay a bride price or dowry to the bride's family, who use it to buy livestock. A rising bride price reflects the woman's lip plate getting larger and more attractive for marriage. The more cows a groom offers, the more impressive his new wife's stretched lip is. On the wedding day, the bride is adorned with her finest ornaments, including labrets and coiled brass neck rings. Ritual songs are sung to bless the couple, while guests dance energetically. Sacrifices of goats or cows are made to ensure fertility. While shocking and alien to outsiders, these customs carry important cultural meaning for the Mursi people. The ceremonies and lip plates represent Mursi pride and identity, but some practices are slowly fading with modernization. Bride prices are less common and some younger girls now reject lip plates. Yet vibrant Mursi wedding traditions will continue, with or without plates. Number 10. Cabin of Love. Deep within the lush jungles of Cambodia reside the Krung people, an ethnic minority distinguished by their distinctive courtship customs. When a Krung daughter reaches marriageable age, her father constructs an isolated hut deep in the forest where she can entertain suitors until she selects a husband. These so-called cabins of love stem from ancient animist beliefs of the Krung. Daughters are believed to embody wilderness spirits who must commune with nature privately to find a compatible mate. Building a secluded abode in the untamed forest enables her spirit to guide her marital choice. When a Krung girl comes of age to marry, her father bears the responsibility of building her a secluded jungle abode away from the village. This cabin serves as a place for the young woman to entertain suitors and get to know potential husbands before deciding who she will marry. The cabin of love represents freedom of choice for Krung women. Inside the private sanctuary, she is able to meet with as many men as she wishes until her heart sings for one of them. This open courtship would be forbidden in the village, but the cabin provides a safe space for her romantic explorations. Once the daughter has chosen her groom, he has no choice but to accept her proposal of marriage. After being selected in the cabin of love, he must pay a bride price to her father in the form of cows before they can officially marry. Livestock is tremendously important in the Krung tribe, so the number of cows the groom provides shows his wealth and status. The more cows offered for his bride, the greater her value and importance to him. This bride price tradition also continues after marriage. The husband must compensate his father-in-law with additional cows for nights spent with his wife. In the 19th century, when Cambodia fell under French protectorate rule, French officials mistakenly equated Krung courtship huts with illicit prostitution. However, these rustic refuges actually empowered Krung women. French colonists pressured the Krung to abandon their custom, but secluded cabins persisted deep in the Cardamom Mountains. Today, modernity erodes Krung traditions as youth adopt mainstream Khmer culture. Yet jungle cabins occasionally still materialize when a Krung daughter comes of age. Though misunderstood, they represent the quest for an ideal partner guided by one's own heart and nature's spirits. Number 9. Chicken sacrifices in South China. Seeking guidance from the natural world is an ancient practice in Chinese culture, including determining auspicious signs for weddings. For millennia, Chinese couples have read omens in animal entrails, especially chicken livers, to forecast their marital destiny. In rural areas of South China, couples must pass a gruesome ritual before they can marry. They must sacrifice chickens and inspect their livers for auspicious omens. This ritual can be traced back over 3,000 years to the Shang dynasty. The Shang relied on oracle bones, bovine and turtle shoulder bones carved with questions and then seared to invoke spirits with answers. But animal livers were also used to interpret messages about pending nuptials. On the chosen day, the bride and groom are each handed a live chicken. In unison, they recite vows to honor their ancestors and bring harmony to their marriage. Then, with a swift cut, they behead the chickens and examine their entrails, specifically the liver. If the liver appears healthy and intact, it is a good sign they can proceed with the marriage. But if defects are detected, it indicates an inauspicious match, and the wedding plans must be abandoned. The couple must then select another date to retry the ritual. After completing the sacrifice, the chickens are often cooked and eaten as part of the wedding feast. Nothing goes to waste. For adherents in rural China, this tradition brings luck and ensures the ancestors approve the match. Animal sacrifice was once common in China before the rise of Buddhism and urbanization, but some rural villages still cling to the archaic custom, believing it wards off evil spirits and brings prosperity. To outsiders, this practice may seem superstitious and shocking, yet for followers, it connects them to their lineage and agricultural past. While animal sacrifice is controversial today, it remains an integral part of matrimonial traditions in remote parts of China. Number 8. Bride fattening in Mauritania. In the desert country of Mauritania in Africa, an unusual measure of beauty leads to a bizarre wedding tradition. Here, a woman's worth is judged by her size, the fatter the better. Skinny brides are considered undesirable and must fatten up before their weddings. In much of the world, minimal food historically created a lean and slender beauty ideal. But Mauritania's frequent droughts and famines led its nomadic tribes to associate fatness with prosperity. A heavy spouse guarantees robust offspring and signifies the man has the wealth to provide ample food, so mass weight gain is expected of brides before marriage. Special feeding sessions called gavage force feed the women giant meals laced with camel milk. Brides consume up to 16,000 calories a day to pile on the pounds. They may double their weight in a matter of months. Some even take pills to accelerate the process. Parents monitor their daughter's weight daily and celebrate when she achieves an ideal girth. Failure to bulk up can mean wedding cancellation. While revered as a sign of beauty and riches in Mauritania, this practice has been condemned by health advocates worldwide. Consuming such extreme calories can lead to chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and psychological issues. Yet the tradition persists in rural areas where large bodies still equal matrimonial desirability. To outsiders, this custom may seem bizarre and unenlightened, but it represents a culture valuing its own historical definitions of beauty and virtue. Local activists, however, are striving to reshape and redefine those notions for improved public health and women's rights. Number 7. Newlywed confinement. On the heavily forested island of Borneo, home to one of the world's oldest rainforests, indigenous communities practice ancient traditions to sustain harmony with nature's forces. The Tadong people preserve an unusual marital custom meant to pacify primordial spirits. Newly married Tadong couples were historically confined for 3 days without relieving themselves at all. Going to the bathroom to void solid or liquid waste was strictly taboo during confinement. The couple is confined to their home and monitored to ensure they do not cheat. They are given only tiny sips of water and tiny morsels of food to minimize needs. After 3 agonizing days, the restriction is lifted and the marriage can begin in earnest. Elders believe violating this custom dooms the couple to bad luck. Their marriage will fail, and their children fall ill and die early. This peculiar tradition derives from the ancient animistic beliefs of the Tadong people. Spirits known as the Bunyan are thought to dwell in trees and rocks near villages. Newlyweds were considered vulnerable and had to be protected from these spirits and their wicked curses. By preventing defecation, the couple focuses their energy internally to ward off demonic influences. Their waste cannot be exploited by evil Bunyans. While confinement prevents Bunyan interference, it certainly takes a physical toll on the couple. Adherence to this ritual has faded among youth influenced by modern lifestyles. Some view the practice as outdated superstition, but deeply traditional Tadong elders maintain that flouting this sacred custom jeopardizes harmony with the invisible world of Bunyan, and the consequences affect the entire village. Number 6. Wedding in the Himba culture. Let's take a quick journey to the Himba tribe in Namibia, a country located in southern Africa, to uncover one of their most fascinating and unique wedding rituals. The Himba are an indigenous people with a vibrant culture, especially when it comes to marriage ceremonies. In Himba society, marriage is a way to spread wealth. After the wedding, women move to the village of their new husband. Polygamy is common and accepted. Both men and women can have more than one partner, as long as everyone agrees. Wealthy men often take multiple wives. Status is signified by the number of cows a woman owns. The more cows in her herd, the more desirable she is as a bride. Cows are given as a bride price to the family of the bride. An important part of the Himba wedding is the ceremonial headpieces worn by the bride and groom. The husband wears an arembe cap made of leather, which he must keep on his head forever after the marriage. It is bad luck for him to ever remove this special cap. The bride also wears a leather headdress called the okoru. After the ritual, the bride is covered in otjis, a mix of butterfat, ochre powder, and herbs. This reddish paste protects the skin from the harsh African sun. It also gives the Himba their distinctive golden skin tone, which is considered beautiful. The highlight of a Himba wedding is the onjongo dance. Women form a half circle and clap and chant, while one dancer in the middle acts out the graceful moves of a prized cow. Livestock are tremendously important in Himba culture, so this dance pays tribute to the animals they depend on. While the traditions may appear unusual to outsiders, they hold deep meaning for the Himba people. Marriage binds 2 individuals together, but also joins communities. The rituals emphasize this communal significance and bring good fortune to the couple's future life together. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. In certain parts of Africa, an unusual wedding tradition involves appointing 2 elder attendants to spend the first married night with the newlywed couple. After the wedding festivities conclude, a respected village elder and the mother of either the bride or groom accompany the couple to their honeymoon suite. The attendants represent guidance and protection for the newlyweds as they embark on married life together. Their presence on the first night offers sage advice for a successful union. For them, matrimony is not just a partnership between 2 individuals, but a joining of families and ancestry. The attendants impart generations of marital wisdom to the couple through their presence. Are you aware of any other intriguing wedding rituals? Let us know in the comments below. Number 5. Berber wedding in Morocco. From the deserts of Algeria to the Atlas Mountains of Morocco dwell the indigenous Berber people, preserving North Africa's ancient Masai culture, including uniquely colorful wedding rituals. The central event is the henna ceremony, beautifying the bride's hands and feet with intricate temporary tattoos. A Berber wedding is a joyous community affair that begins in the village, with music and high spirits. The bride, covered in fine garments, sits with important female elders and relatives. As part of the henna ceremony, intricate temporary tattoos are drawn on her hands and feet. Guests sing traditional songs as they decorate the bride and tie on her elaborate headpiece. Henna's cooling tannin properties are believed to boost fertility and prepare skin for the wedding night. Traditionally, the darker the henna stains appear on the bride's palms, the stronger passion she will incite. Though customs evolve, Berber brides still treasure henna's auspicious allure. When it's time for the ceremony, the bridal party travels to the groom's home on a camel or donkey. The parade is accompanied by drums and singing, creating an atmosphere of celebration. Upon arrival, the bride and her cousins sit atop a special platform, while the other women gather around them. The groom remains secluded for this portion, as it is bad luck for him to see the wedding procession. There is much merriment, including copious amounts of sweet mint tea. Although men and women celebrate separately, they come together to perform beautiful traditional Berber songs and dances about love and matrimony. At the end of the first day, the newlyweds are finally left alone to enjoy some privacy and downtime. In the following days, they rejoin the party wearing their new status as husband and wife proudly. The Berber wedding is joyful proof of the vibrant cultural spirit that persists in Morocco today. Number 4. Wedding ceremony of Masai. In the sprawling savannas of Kenya and Tanzania dwell the Masai, a semi-nomadic people whose unique weddings are filled with fascinating customs that may seem curious to outsiders. In the past, Masai girls always married between 12 and 20 years old, but with modern education, they now marry later. Before the wedding, the groom brings gifts of livestock, money, blankets, and honey to the bride's father as a dowry. On the day before the ceremony, the bride's head is shaved to represent a fresh start. Then father spits on her as a blessing. The spitting occurs in full view of the wedding guests. The bride, dressed in her finest attire, will stand calmly and allow her father to cover her with his saliva. To outsiders, this ritual may seem unsanitary and downright bizarre. However, for the Masai and other tribes of Tanzania and Kenya, it carries deep cultural significance. The father's spit is believed to bring great luck and prosperity to the couple. It also serves as a way for him to show his love and give a blessing to his daughter as she embarks on her new life journey. The tribes view saliva as having protective powers. By covering his daughter in his spit, the father is essentially safeguarding her future and warding off any evil spirits or bad omens that may affect her marriage. The saliva acts as a shield. Additionally, spraying the bride with saliva is thought to aid in fertility. Then grass is tied to her wedding shoes, symbolizing prosperity. In Masai culture, grass represents abundance since it takes great effort to maintain grass lawns. On the wedding day, the groom's party approaches the bride's homestead, bearing colorful arrows decorated with mirrors, jewels, and jade. A beautifully painted horse, the same color as the bride's traditional beaded necklace, carries the dowry gifts. As the bride's family welcomes them, she is adorned with a jade headpiece, and an arrow is placed on her back showing she has crossed over to her new husband's side. When the bride leaves her childhood village, the women sing her praises and promise wedding gifts. She ties knots in her beaded necklace to count the gifts. It is usually a sad farewell for the bride as she steps into her new, unknown life. The Masai value ritual and tradition enormously. While their wedding customs may seem exotic, they hold profound meaning and history for their culture. We must appreciate the beauty in different cultural practices, even if we don't fully understand them. Number 3. Ghost weddings in India. An obscure wedding ritual that persisted for centuries in rural India, is known as ghost marriage, or Pretha Kalyanam in the Tamil language. It involves marrying off children who tragically died before reaching adulthood. When girls or boys passed away before turning 18, their families would arrange for them to wed another deceased child in a ceremonial union of spirits. The belief was that properly marrying off the soul prevented it from becoming an aimless ghost. Instead, the departed could live on peacefully in the afterlife as though they had fulfilled their earthly marital duties. This macabre ritual entailed all the usual matrimonial rites. The parents of the deceased bride and groom negotiated an astrologically suitable match. On an auspicious date, a mock Hindu wedding took place with all customs. A coconut or doll representing the dead child would be dressed in wedding finery and carried to the cremation grounds where a pyre was lit to mark the symbolic completion of the marriage. Some extreme accounts even involved weddings between living persons and corpses. Though shocking today, these posthumous unions gave solace to parents who felt cheated of seeing their child grow up and marry. The ceremonies provided closure and hope that the souls were at rest. While ghost weddings sound bizarre outside India, they represent poignant parental love. Improved lifespans make this ritual obsolete today, but it was a moving way that past generations coped with adolescent loss. Number 2. Blackening the bride and groom in Scotland. In the Scottish Highlands lurks an archaic and messy wedding tradition known as blackening. It involves ritually humiliating the bride and groom by covering them in revolting substances on the eve of their nuptials. The evening before their big day, the unsuspecting couple is captured by friends and family and whisked away in an open-back truck. As they are paraded through town, their captors bang pots and pans, creating a deafening ruckus. The chaotic procession ends at a secret destination where the grim blackening ceremony takes place. There, the bride and groom are held down and slathered from head to toe in a vile concoction of spoiled food, mud, grease, feathers, soot, and any other unpleasant mess that can be found. The goal is to coat the couple completely until they are unrecognizable. Surrounded by jeering onlookers, the putrid pair then endures further humiliation, like getting rolled in a pigsty or dunked in a mucky pond. Photos may be taken to memorialize their unglamorous appearance. Finally, the ordeal ends, and the victims are released to clean themselves up before walking down the aisle. Despite the cruel treatment, blackening is not intended as hazing or pranking. Rather, it symbolizes washing away impurities and leaving behind the unruly days of bachelorhood. The rowdy public spectacle forges stronger bonds between the couple's clans. Laughter helps diffuse anxiety over the impending nuptials and future in-laws. Though unorthodox, blackening is a memorable Scottish folk tradition that builds camaraderie through hardship. Number 1. Indian shoe-stealing custom. A lighthearted ritual that may occur at Indian Hindu weddings is juta chupai, or the stealing of the groom's shoes by the bride's relatives. This custom is a playful way of extorting money from the groom before he can proceed with the ceremony. On the wedding day, the groom dons special shoes called juta as part of his bridal attire. But before the groom can enter the mandap to take his marital vows, the sisters or cousins of the bride sneakily steal his juta and hide them away. Without his sacred shoes, the groom cannot step foot in the mandap, so he must negotiate with the scheming women to retrieve the footwear. This involves offering cash and sweets to get the juta back and continue with the wedding. It is all meant in merriment, but the groom must be ready to shell out generous sums to get back his shoes. The light-hearted juta chupai serves multiple symbolic purposes. It shows the groom is ready to appease his new family and share his wealth. Paying the juta ransom also demonstrates he can support his wife financially, and it implies the bride's relatives will look out for her best interests. The hijinks loosen tensions between the families and get the festivities started on a positive note. But most importantly, juta chupai confirms the love match is harmonious enough to withstand a little shoe-based mischief. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.